Foxclan Publications. Stepping into the light.
Hello, everyone. This is Matt of the Authors Podcast, Stepping into the Light. I would just like to take a moment to ask everyone that is watching this video to like and to share and to also subscribe. That helps us out tremendously so that we can bring more people to our channel and get the message out about what we are doing here. It would mean a great deal to Wesley, Tim, Joe, and I if you would do that. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We hope you continue to tune in every week. Thank you, and our podcast is coming up next. Hello, this is Matt, and I want to thank you once again for tuning in to the Authors Podcast. Before our podcast begins, I did want to mention that some things discussed in this podcast may be considered controversial. Of course, we ask that you come into this podcast with an open mind and, at the very least, consider it entertainment. However, I did want to mention that very soon we will be providing evidence of the things that we discuss on this podcast. So we do hope that you will look at that evidence and go from there. Thank you for tuning in back to Foxclan Publications. This is part 2 of episode 6, and we're going to continue right where we left off. Again, thanks for tuning in once again, and your podcast is right now.
But I will say, Matt, though, is before my 50s, I had situations that I alluded to this, but it's interesting how it all came about. But I think what's different about us is we go in there, we verify that the entity's there. We take the bad ones. We take the ones that nobody wants, that they've tried everything. And another example, real quickly. A couple years back, Tim was there and Wesley was there, and we came up to see the Ozarks. It was the Ozarks, right? Honey? Yeah. Tim, yeah. So we went up there and we were doing it was Halloween or something. I believe it was that time of year. And we were doing Wesley and Tim were doing the what were you guys doing?
We were doing a Paracon. We did a Paracon.
Oh, that's
once.
Right. That's right. You remember the lady with that her daughter was being attacked? The one that was 17 years old? We were in the theater. Yeah. I think it was a theater.
Yeah, we were in the theater.
Right. You got to understand, Matt, Tim and Wesley have been in it more than I have. But before I go, I got another interesting story for you before I get off. But anyways, we were sitting there, and this woman came up to us and said, in privacy, she said, my daughter's being abused. And I'll leave it at that. So we got her a blessing kit. She came in the next day before I was leaving, and I think Tim was there. You gotta understand, this was years ago, but I'm trying to get my memory. I'm trying to get everything coming back to me. So we were in the Wesley's office there, and the mother came in with the daughter and all that, and we gave. Now I thought this was interesting. So she's got this look on her face, like, how much is it going to cost? When I said, I am not going to cost you anything, her eyes lit up the whole room. The smile came on her. Then she know it was real. She went home. She did the blessing, used the kit, and it was gone. And there was there's another one before I don't want to forget. There was another one I wanted to tell you. Oh God, what was it? Oh man. Oh no, I got it. So going down the road, some stuff happened, and I kind of got away from it for a while. And a friend of mine came in Colleen and Dan are friends of mine. And they said, and that Colleen's sister said that her daughter's in trouble. This abusive guy who was a Satanist. And true story. I mean, if you want them on the show, I'll try to get a hold of them, and they can get on the show, and they can verify everything I'm saying. Colleen's
that would be great.
Yeah, I'll try to get a hold of them. Colleen's sister came to me. She was crying. She says, "Joe, help me get my daughter out of there," because she had twins. This guy was writing satanic books and putting them on Amazon. No lie. And she said this guy couldn't save his life to read. He said these voices came to him, and he's writing these books, and he's selling them on Amazon and stuff like that. Why he's beating the hell out of I'll call her Kelly. Kelly's daughter. He's beating her. He killed her cat, and he's beating this woman, and she feared for her life. So she says, "Please, can you just help us?" So I went in. I did my thing, and what was happening is he says the voices have stopped, and Kelly's daughter said, "What do you mean they stopped?" He says, "They're not talking to me anymore." What did you do? Who? Somebody did this to me. I had to get her daughter out of it because she was fearing for her daughter's life, and this guy was always on her all the time. So we had a way of getting him distracted, got her out of there, got her a plane ticket, and got her down to Clearwater. And now she's writing a book about it. And I have that. I'll look for. I have the letter with the feather in it. That's what I'll do. Is I'll get that. I'll look for that, and I'll take a picture of it, and I'll send it to you. It's a little thing. She said, "There's an angel that came into my life called Joe who saved my life," and she put a white feather on it. And she gave it to me. Kelly said, "You saved my life, and you saved my daughter's life." Kelly was at her wit's end and stuff like. This guy was really going to hurt this woman. That's when I kind of, got back into it. But yeah, all I want to do is put the technique out there. It's free. I don't charge anybody on it, and if they want to use it, it can't hurt. The technique for exorcisms, like I said, you get checked out, and when we do exorcism, there's 3 or 4 of us in a room, and we got. I think there's Tim. Isn't there one of the books of Wesley, this young man that we helped? We did an exorcism on him. Yeah.
Up here in eastern Iowa, we helped that family over here by where I live, a couple hours away. He was a young man. He was having quite the time. We did an exorcism with him. Yes.
Right, and then Wesley did a book on it, and I met the young man. Really, a heck of a guy and stuff like that.
Yeah. But that was a haunting in a Heartland. That was the episode that was on the History Channel.
Yep. Yeah, that was one that they saw. I think we were up in Ohio, and I was talking to Tim. I said that's the one that when they did this, they first saw a white owl in the middle of the road come down, and stuff like that. And they all, I mean, it's just all kinds of stuff. People look at these shows, and it's great entertainment, but these were people's lives. That can you imagine coming home to your house and seeing a knife fly through the air, get punched, get screamed at, get middle of the night, get terrified, and you can't hit it because it's not in a physical form.
Can't see it.
Yeah, you can't see it. You can't hear it, man.
The owl is a symbol of the occult, right?
Right. Yeah. So, I found out with the Ouija board. I talked to somebody that was really knew all about them. He said each Ouija board there's a spirit attached to it. They assign a spirit to the Ouija board, and I thought that was interesting.
So these companies that sell them, like they used to sell them as toys. There's somebody working for that toy company that literally performs some sort of satanic ritual and puts it in it.
I'm not saying that's gospel, but the guy was. Who he really was studying it, and that's what he found out that you gotta look at that. I mean, you can go either way with that. I'm just putting that there. There's a possibility, and that's what he said. He was pretty serious about it. He says, "Don't mess with. Don't." They're called a witch wards, and I think they outsold Monopoly. I think the Monopoly came out in the '60s or something like that.
See, you can still buy them.
Yeah, well, yeah, you still can buy. They're in all different kinds of colors now. One that glows in the dark and stuff like that. I mean, and now there's stories about people that are using them and regretted they did, because right after they did it, it's like opening your door and asking anything to come in, you know. And I'll explain something else. Just because you hear a voice say, "Hey, I'm Uncle Joe," or "I'm Uncle Jim," or "I'm, Aunt Sally," doesn't mean they are. You don't know what you're doing. It's just, they're deceptive. Like, anybody can be deceptive. What I'm trying to say is, make sure what you're dealing with. I mean, just because it's being nice to you at first doesn't make it turn out to be something. In reality, it shouldn't be there. You shouldn't be interacting with the other side, because you're supposed to be here, and the other side is for when you pass on to that. These things are very real. And what I would say to anybody is, if you're going to get into this or study something, study the apparition. Talk to people, read books or something. Somebody told me one time, anything that's got any power to it comes out of your mouth, not a book. And I believe that. I believe that sincerely. When I wasn't looking for this, and I tell you what, it's hard on me. I'm not seeking anything. It's taken a toll on my life, and it's done things to me that But the point is, I like to help people, and that's what I like to do. And I got some wonderful people that are doing it, Tim and Wesley, that are really into it. But I will say this, from reiterating, and you can do your own experiment, that if you're getting attacked, put the lights on, put some music on, put something, and all of a sudden it won't intensify as much, But if something's attacking you and you don't believe in God, you sure better believe in Him now, because if there's something evil, there's got to be something good.
Right.
And like I said, what we're doing is with our team, as far as I still know, is with us. We call it entity profiling. There's a person that put a book. Right. There's a person that put the book out on it before, or something like that. And I'm not knocking them, but I'm just explaining what we do. And it actually, each time we've done a case, now none of us are all perfect, but most of the time, we usually figure out why the demonic entity, or what that entity is doing there and what it's trying to do. But like I said, I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes. Our technique works, and we put it out there to help. And Tim's got you need to talk to Tim sometime. Have him on your show, and let him tell you his stories, because he's got a lot of interesting stories what the man went through in his life. And Tim can probably tell you this, I think they physically attack you, and I think over the years you have it affects your body. And I think and Tim can tell you, me also, So you can't sit there and say, "Well, I'm invincible and they can't get to me." Well, yeah, they can get to you. But the point is, if they do get to you, what do you do about it? Do you sink or do you swim? And what we do is, as far as I know, what the team does is get back up and swim. Now, there's got to be people say, "Yeah, I don't believe this. Yeah, I do believe this." I don't care. What I care about is helping that person get rid of what they have in their house. They need help. Can you imagine? It's like a surgeon that can help you fix your body. You're so grateful beyond words, you can't even see straight. So when they call somebody that that we can help, that's great. We're going to put the technique out in writing and out there, and people want to buy it. Anybody can do it, and it works, But me and Tim and Wesley got this next this next case we're going to tell you about is very, very interesting, and it kind of proves that what we do works. Right, Tim? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Exactly. Right. It does work. Yeah. It is amazing.
Right. There was a before and after, and then after, stuff happens. But anyways, I'll try to get Colleen and Dan on there if I can get the number and give them a call and get them on your show, Matt. And because Dan has some interesting stories growing up in his life. He had a case up in Indiana, I think. I'm not going to say this is gospel, but Colleen has a history with that situation. Anyways, they moved in this apartment complex that was on Indian ground, and the wall had a big black stain in it, and they were having demonic problems. And they went across the street. They went to a place that sold. I don't want to step on anybody's toes. It was a shop that did magical properties or did something to help them. Well, it didn't help it. It made it worse. Now, in their defense, they could have done it wrong. The reason, Wesley, I was saying, other people's religion, other people's technique. I really don't want to say nothing because then, you say something and somebody comes into your show or he doesn't know what he's talking about. Investigators, they got their side of the story. But I know what ours, but to tell you the truth, when certain situations over there fail, they call us and it works. So why is that? So long story short with Dan and Colleen was they tried to get the Indians in there and that didn't work.
Right.
Because I got my theory on that. So they called me into it, and I think Wesley, do you remember that? He just might have to think about it. But anyways, I believe Wesley was with us it was the same time frame. Anyways, we got rid of it, and they came down, and I've helped them before. But Colleen's sister's Wesley was the one I was telling you about. The guy that the daughter's boyfriend he wrote these satanic books. Yeah. And you remember that? And I went in there and I got her out. Plus, I got him to quit writing the books. Now here's a guy. Here's a guy that his books were selling on Amazon. I mean, they were all about this guy's talent was he was receiving the demonic stuff and putting it in writing. What we do is we reverse that and get rid of it, because this is what's happening today with the demonic is disgusting. Since you guys want me to be hardcore, and I can be hardcore, and Wesley knows that, but it's disgusting because it's a negative behavior. Like anytime that you do a negative behavior, there's going to be consequences that you're going to usually end up in jail. Well, sin is the same type of relating to behavior. When God sits and says you do a sin, I think some of the younger people might take it the wrong way. Well, I would take it as, if you keep doing that negative behavior, this is what's going to happen to you. If you go into a store and keep stealing, eventually you're going to get caught and go to jail. Well, it's the same type in your spiritual life. You keep doing something and it comes back to you. I believe in karma, and I think it does come back to you. I've seen a lot happen. I helped a person with the rent money. That was $400, $200. It was a blank check, a money order, and $15 in some stamps. I took it back to the post office. She wrote in a newspaper that was my rent money, and I needed $5 one day. Went to the ATM machine. I didn't have my card. Went back to my car, and what did I find? A $5 bill. True story. So don't tell me when you do something good for somebody, it doesn't come back. We need to start helping people is what we need to start doing. And we need to quit asking for something in return, because we get a lot in return. Imagine when you were helped and you needed that person at that one time and they were there. But that's what we try to do. What we do is very hardcore. We get rid of it. That is the main thing. Russia came across something that was really bad. He left with Nikki, came back, they figured out what it was, and they got rid of it. So Wesley did this. Wesley can go into it later, but Wesley did something with Nikki, and the demonic entity was so bad that they were going down the road and said, "We need to add frankincense or something into the mix." He did that and it left because that I think was God's essence of when he walked on the earth. It was his physical and spiritual mixed in, and when he brought it into the mix, that got rid of it. Because in essence, Jesus was there, and the demon cannot. The demon has to leave, has to bow down, and has to go. These things are getting stronger, and they're getting worse, and they're going to start, and they really are hurting people now. And what we really need
to... case, I think Nikki and I and Brandon stayed there all night long, going back and forth, trying everything that I could think of at that time to try to help this poor lady. Mm-hmm. And we got down the road.
Now, in the word,
God, that what are we missing? What do we need to do? And then, Nikki said, "Hey, let's use this."
And it worked.
Myrrh with the sage, and let's bless it with everything else that we're doing. So
and it worked.
Stuff in, and that was it.
Right. So if Wesley wouldn't have came along, we'd be in trouble. And another thing, the one good thing is that I try not to do anymore is judge anybody. And that's what I think a lot of these investigators do. They start turning on each other and judge each other. Don't judge anybody. Give the person with respect. You don't have to accept what they do, but you kind of understand what they do. And I think that's the reason we all start, instead of us attacking each other and blaming each other as a paranormal group, we should start working together. What would happen if all of us as paranormal investigators started working together, start sharing information, start helping on other cases? The people, do you know how cool that would be? How much more in demand you would be? And how much fighting the good fight would be? Get our ego out of the way and put our spirit in the way. We need to stand up and start fighting these things, and we all start to get together. After the same thing, most of these investigators that come out there, they want to help people. They got involved for some reason. We all want to know what happens when we die. And the believers know what happens.
That's interesting you're talking about this, Joe, because, I've had people ask me about posting some of our evidence that we've got, and I never have because of all these other people. And because I know they're going to talk crap and all that. But, I'm to the point. Could be because I'm just getting older. I really don't care.
Right.
I know what we got was good. Tim knows.
Right.
Tim was there through a lot of it. So, and you were there through quite a bit of it. So, we know that we ain't going to have no reason to fake anything. So, starting probably with our next episode, we talked a little bit about Kinsey. We're going to give a little glimpse of what that was like during her possession, and a few other things from that hotel hell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was bad. That's
our next episode.
Yeah, we know why that we had such a we know why. Well, Wesley and Tim probably came, but all three of us came to the conclusion we knew why what was interfering, that it took longer than it should have. We also know that what was in the mix of that. So there was a lot of intrigue. There was a lot of suspense and intrigue behind the scenes that were trying to stop us from doing what we were doing. Hell, I was in the bed and breakfast. I went in the closet and stood there for 15 minutes and said, "Come get me." Not a damn thing. And the reason why they stood on the third floor, I'm not going into all of those, is because Wesley, I think I told you about, it was electricity. Wesley, do you remember? I think we talked about the one in Detroit when I went in that, we shut all the power off and the activity spiked, and then when we turned it back on, it went back down. And that was one of the theories I came, right. And when we talk about the bed and breakfast situation, Hotel Hell, I won't go into it, but we know why they stood are congregated, existed, they don't live, existed in a certain area of the whole. We know why it did. So what I'm trying to explain, Matt, we went in there. I want to go into this really so bad. But what I'm trying to say is, when we go into a situation, we already know what's going on, and we already know how to get rid of it, and it works. And we got outside people to back it up. You can't sit there and make that stuff up. We have proof on that. That just validates what we already know. You can beat these things. You can get rid of them. I don't care what anybody says. You can get rid of these damn things. We've done it. You sit there, oh, I'll never get rid of it. Oh, crap. You will get rid of it. And these curse items, oh, this is energy. Just break it. Don't believe in it. Bring Christ. Ask God to come in and just sell it. You know? These shows that do curse items, they just want to make money on their shows. And they're making it worse because they're advertising about it. See, a lot of these people get curious. Oh boy, the divot box, man. I got to get a divot box. And what did that thing do? Oh, we can't get rid of it. Yeah, you can get rid of it. Jesus and God are the most powerful, supreme beings in the world. They made us, for God's sake. And Darwin said, oh, we can't get rid of it. Yeah, you can get rid of it if you know what you're doing. If you go in there, the belief system is you want to go in there and help these people and get rid of it. I keep saying it, and I'll say it again. That most of the things that I've read, or even the shows, well, I called this investigator to come in, and he really didn't do a damn. He didn't help my problem. That's like you having cancer, and the doctor says, well, yeah, I know you got the tumor. So, now I verified it. I'll see you later. Then the tumor destroys it. I mean, come on. I'm not being kind of going to one spectrum, but that's why Wesley cares. That's why Wesley cares, Tim cares, and I care. We do this out of our time, and we don't pay for it. Hell, most of the stuff, and we pay for it ourselves. You know? Because I tell you what, you can't bring the money when you're dead. So that's my passion on the situation. I mean, but Wesley can tell you, Wesley, we did I think it was 10 years or something like that, maybe less. We were cramming 4 cases, 5 cases a week.
Yeah, we were trying to do 2 or 3 cases at a time. I remember I had called Tim. Hey, Tim, can you come down and help? We have issues.
Yeah. Went out on a few of my own, did some things, so it does work. It's amazing.
Tim, I'll tell you what about Tim is Tim's very scientific. But Tim has seen things that he sat there and couldn't. And okay, I got one more thing to say. So I'm sitting here last week watching TV, and I got a cat named Colton. He's an orange tabby. I got stuff in front of me, and I got my table, and I got this little through the cracks I can see where my DVDs are and where they feed. Colton's tail can come by in an area, and I can see the tail, right? So I see the cat, Colton, go in my line of sight. I can't see through him. And then he goes, it was so real, I came around the corner. I got one more. I came around the corner, and then he wasn't there. I went out to the living room, he was there. I've had three visits now from a demonic. One was scratching in my walls twice, and the other was outside scratching on my window. When the first time it was in my walls, I put the disruptor in there, and it took off. So I think we took it off. We took the thing back out. 2 weeks later, there's a noise again. I put it back in. It just hasn't been this in, and now it's outside the window. Well, the reason why that is because the case that I'm doing is I'm giving this demon a bad day. Now, and I don't know if Wesley heard this. This person I'm helping, I believe that the boyfriend is perfectly possessed and is trying to destroy this person. And but now, anytime that I usually get a case, I'll get a visit from that demonic entity, and then we have a case. And Wesley can tell you that. I mean, I'll tell Wesley before we even have a case. Right, Wesley? I got a visit from something, and A week later, we had a case. I had a visitor, the serial killer, that wanted us, the people that wanted us to go on the property up there. And I was just talking with Tim, and it's way out in the boondocks. And the guy, I think Wesley went out there with Tim and the cubits, and they went out there, and the guy was, you know, and I think Wesley saw something satanic on the wall or something like that. Anyways, I got a visit from the serial killer in the morning, and I think it was a warning. And it's not that we couldn't say, I mean, I brought my weapon, I brought my .38 with me, you know. And I said, no, we're not going to do it. I said, we go there, we're going to have problems. And that could have been an occult. I'm not saying it was, but it was very bad. But, and another thing too, Matt.
Lost.
And another thing Wesley can tell you, being exposed to the demonic, I believe, can cause you cancer. That's it. It's like sitting in front of a microwave with it open. Because their body is negative, yours is positive. They've got a very negative energy that's beyond. And another thing too, these entities or these demons do not take energy out of your batteries. They do not take it out of your wall. I heard of a physicist say if a soul, just a human soul, if they could run a small city. Now, why in the heck would they need your? What they do is they disrupt it, meaning that your battery goes dead. Well, they disrupt that energy, they cancel it out, is what's happening. And there's another person I talked to that has that kind of theory. I think it cancels it out or disrupts it. I don't think they absorb it. They don't. They're self-contained. Demons don't need your energy. They're self-contained. Okay, answer me this. Way back in the Stone Age, or way back in the Romans. Okay, let me see. Now, when they went to the Romans, they plugged into the wall and they took their energy, right? Because they had electrical appliances, right? They didn't have anything. Where'd the energy come from? Their stuff, just like you, they're self-contained. It might disrupt their bodies, and that's the reason why that we came up with this device that we put in the wall. It disrupts their energy. That's why a lot of times they will come during the day, because the energy, it does something to them or it disrupts them. And we've already proven it works. You know. And I don't care what anybody says. It works. It works for us. You know, somebody can sit there and talk trash. Who cares? But my main focus is this team here. We help people. We solve the problem. We do something I don't think anybody does. Buster, have you met anybody that does what we do? That profile like we do?
No.
Okay. So, Wesley, have you heard the movie Nefarious? You went to see it, right? Nefarious, that one with the guy who was in the prison, was a demonic entity, and he possessed the guy, and the other guy came in, the psychiatrist came in, tried to help him, and then they were flying him. Do you remember that? And then he wrote a book on it, and then it was called Nefarious. We went to go see it. I think you saw it, right? You remember the movie I'm talking about? Nefarious? You didn't see it?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, well, check it out. It's about this guy that was a serial killer, and he was possessed by a demonic entity, and he wanted to be killed. He didn't want to be killed, but the demon wanted him to be killed. But the psychiatrist came in to prove he was insane or sane. And I'm not going to give the movie away, but it was in limited theaters, and now it's spread because now people are getting exorcisms from it. It scared them so bad because it was close to saying I saw to reality. Yeah, if you get a chance, please check it out. It's a very interesting movie.
I appreciate that. Now, I would like to bring up a few things, if you could give me a few minutes. But first, let me see if Wesley wants to say a few things as well.
Go ahead, Matt.
Okay, I wanted to mention something important that the Bible says related to your topic. I believe it says that we are to test the spirits, if I remember correctly. And I think Paul is the one that said that, correct?
Right.
Okay. Well, then, there's another part of the Bible that someone has gotten into and taken out. That's where it mentions that if you can't pray a demon out, then you need to have both prayer and fasting. And it's just interesting to see you talking about, having trouble and having to try different methods. And that's a perfect example of what's meant by testing the spirits. And most people don't seem to understand that these days. We have pretty much taken spirituality out of our life. And there's 3 points I wanted to bring up in addition to this. We are a society based on logic and reason. I think Tim can identify with this maybe more than any of us. Logic and reason is what we're taught from a young age, and this negative spirituality is what tries to attack us without getting credit for what it is doing. You guys are spearheading this, and of course there are other people who are out there doing the same thing, but majority of the people on at least in this country, maybe across the world, only put faith in their logic and reason, and I think that's why we have a lot of the problems we have today. That's the first point I wanted to bring up. Now, the second point I wanted to bring up, and you'd mentioned separate frequencies earlier. I wanted to mention that there are, and as a disclaimer before I say this, I don't know for sure if this is an occult thing, and I know that that's one of Satan's goals to mix the occult with Christianity, but, some might say that's to muddy the water or, poison the well or whatever. But anyways, there's frequency that most music and Hollywood movies use that some have said is a satanic frequency. And then there's another frequency that's supposed to be a healing frequency that's at 432 hertz. Has any of you heard of this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
Yes.
because our body runs like on a current.
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't know about this stuff, and I'm not quite 100% sure where it originated from, but there has to be some truth to it. Just look at how evil and dark our society has become, and then you look at Hollywood and the music industry and kind of see that it's directing people that way. But yeah, that's the second point that I wanted to bring up. And the last point I wanted to bring up is that a lot of paranormal investigators, now once again, I don't want to sound like I'm questioning all of them because I don't know a person's true motives, but I've heard many of them say on TV shows and different series that they don't actually believe in the paranormal, like spirits. They don't actually believe that it's real, that they are actually setting out to prove that it's not real. And those people are walking into pure danger. That's Satan's goal, for you not to believe in him or his demons, and he loves every minute of that. And people do need to quit playing around with that because it's very dangerous.
The way society is today, they're taking out, from our Christianity in our schools and everything else. And there's after-school Satan clubs, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also, I just seen something online the other day that there's a new Satan con now.
Right.
What's going on?
Well, what was Satan's greatest trick? He wants to believe he doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as Church of Satan charges a fee to join too.
It's
$25.
It's power and money. It's power and money. Most of these people that are into this, they like any gig, they got onto it. And you're right about the hertz. They've done studies now, and they probably have. They also have in security and other things. I believe is you can put like a microphone in an area, and if you got homeless or some undesirables, you can put that frequency there, and all of a sudden it will irritate that person, and they don't know why, and they'll leave. Because it is disrupting your astral body within your body itself. It's disrupting the flow of energy that's going around you. Because we've seen auras and everything else. That's the same theory that I have with the demonic entities. Why we put that unit in the wall, and it does what it does because it irritates their bodies. They can't handle that frequency. They got to take off.
That makes sense. That's why people hated rock music at first when we were a more Christian nation. That's why they would resist it so much. And we've come to just accept it now.
Well,
you just opened up a light bulb to me. Thank you.
Oh well, I mean, I tried.
My phone's dying.
Hey, look, you guys,
Okay.
it's getting kind of late. Like I said, I'll come back on if you guys want to, and I want to talk about what Mercury and me me and Wesley have been talking about. And I
Yep,
think
you'll be on
and,
with the
and
next episode, Joe, when we talk about Hotel Hell. Part
Yes.
one.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll definitely bring you back on, and
Well, I'm honored to be here, guys. Thank you.
we really appreciate you joining us. And
I appreciate it.
we'll definitely feature that, and I'll let you know when we get to those episodes. We'll schedule another episode with you, Joe.
Okay, Matt.
I did want to say, Tim, before everyone else can drop off, but Tim, I didn't actually get an introduction from you at the beginning.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's
If
right.
you could,
Yeah,
I didn't want
Matt.
to interrupt
okay.
anybody. I
No,
want
go ahead,
him
Tim.
to record an
Did Joe get
introduction.
his
It's
actual
okay.
introduction?
No. It,
Oh,
Tim Hinton again. I was on here a couple weeks ago. We talked about my books and so forth from Iowa. And so that's why I'm part of this group. And I'm actually proud to be part of this group. I think what we do is a great thing. It still amazes me today how it works. And it works very well. So understanding it is pretty interesting. You've got to believe. You got to believe what you do and believe what you're doing. And you know, have a spiritual nature to you and make it work. So
I'll go ahead. Any more, Tim? Because Tim, let me say about Tim. Tim's a very fascinating man, very intelligent man, and a more asset to this team. I can't say enough about the man. He's been a lifesaver to me and stuff like that. So, I'm getting old, and I must be getting Alzheimer's because I might get to say something I forget and I get off the phone. But anyways, Tim, have they brought you on and you talk about your situation, like you're the man of the hour to be on Michael? Have they done that yet for you? I mean, I'm sure they have, but
it was on. It was on a week ago or 2 weeks ago. We talked about my books and some of the stuff that we've been doing, and
okay, good.
being part of this group, so forth. We haven't gotten into some of my investigations or some of the cases or things that I've seen or witnessed, but I'm looking forward to getting into that part of it.
Well, I
Sounds
think
like
I know.
we have about. Sorry.
Well,
I'm sorry if I've talked over any of you.
No, okay. Matt, what I was saying is, I think what will be unique about you guys is if people say things about you, or the best thing is not to judge anybody, and when you give that level of serenity and stillness, your team or your show or whatever will go that much higher because the devil can't get to you. When you start, when you come down and start bickering that people do, you guys don't have to stand down to anybody. You guys don't have to talk about anybody, and you guys can ignore what they say because if they're talking about you, then you must be something to talk about. That's all that I can say. You know, I think this is a great show. I think you guys are. I like the Dog Man, Bigfoot. I've actually seen, a UFO type thing. I could talk about that later. Anyways, but you guys, it was great, and I can't wait to come back on and stuff like that. And
did Joe get his proper introduction?
Huh? Oh, I think I did. You talking about me?
Yeah.
I think I did.
Yeah.
Did I give an introduction about myself? I think I did.
Yeah, you did. Both you and Wes did. I kind of did. Joe, do you have anything? If you have anything you would like us to promote when we put these videos out, please send any links or anything to Wesley.
Okay.
And of course, I'm promoting all of our books. So if you anything like that, just send the link to Wesley. I'll make sure it's on the video. Tim, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate the things that you've contributed to the conversation. I would like Wesley to close us off.
Go ahead, buddy.
All right, guys. Thanks, everyone, for listening and everyone coming on the show. We appreciate it all. And you'll see us next week. Same time, same place. Except for we'll have a several-part conversation to go into detail about Hotel Hell. We'll have me, obviously, Matt, Tim, Joe will come back, and then we're going to bring in another guest that was a part of that. And that is Melissa Pritchard. but she was also known on our hauntings. She was known as Melissa Fox, except for we wasn't actually married. But
spirit.
she will be there with you too.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
I look forward to that series of episodes. It's going to be a lot of fun. So much today. I really appreciate it. This was a lot of fun. I hope you all enjoyed it as much as I did. And I look forward to talking to all of you again soon.
Yeah, guys, I tried to cram everything into one show tonight. All right, guys, take care of yourself, and I'll be on next week to talk to you, okay? Everybody have a good night now. All right.
You too.
All right,
See
bye.
you later.
See you.
Thank you.